So what does it really mean to be a leader today? It's not just about having a vision. It's about knowing where to point that vision. In this explainer, we're going to dive into the tools and the mindset that transform leaders from just having a vision to building one based on the one thing that truly matters, the voice of the customer.
All right, to get us started, let's look at a classic definition. Leadership is all about inspiring a total willing commitment. It's about getting your whole team to voluntarily give it their all to smash a goal. Now, that's a powerful idea, right? But it's also pretty general.
And that brings us to the real question. The world is constantly shifting, tech is always evolving, and priorities change overnight. So with all that going on, where does a great leader direct all that energy? What's the North Star?
Well, that North Star, that guiding focus, it brings us to our first huge idea, the absolute imperative to be focused on the customer.
And the answer is almost deceptively simple. It's the customer. But listen, this isn't just about the customer service department. This is a core philosophy. In a world of constant change, your customer's voice is the single most important source of information you have. Period. This image just nails the core challenge every leader faces. So often, companies are stuck in their own little bubble, thinking they know what customers want. But customers, they have a completely different reality. The true job of a great leader is to bridge that gap.
The tool you use to bridge that gap? It's called the Voice of the Customer, or VOC for short. And this is way more than just a satisfaction survey. It's a whole systematic process for capturing what your customers truly expect, what they want, and, just as important, what they can't stand.
So, if we know we need to listen, the next obvious question is, how do we actually do it? Let's get practical. Listening really breaks down into two main ways. On one side, you have active listening. That's when you go out and you ask for it, through surveys, focus groups, stuff like that. On the other side, you have passive listening. This is where you analyze the clues customers are already leaving for you: complaints, support tickets, product returns. A smart leader, they use both. Okay, so you're doing it. You're collecting all this feedback, both active and passive. But now you've got a new problem. You're drowning in information. So, are all of these requests and complaints created equal? Should you just react to every single one? Absolutely not. And this is where a brilliant framework called the Kano model comes into play. It helps leaders get past just collecting feedback and start strategically understanding it. So the Kano model sorts customer needs into three buckets. First, you've got your must-haves. These are things people just expect. Think clean sheets in a hotel room. You don't get bonus points for having them, but you are in big trouble if you don't. Second, there's more is better. Here, the relationship is linear. The faster the Wi-Fi, the happier the customer. Simple. And finally, you have the delighters. These are the unexpected extras that create true loyalty. A free upgrade, a personal thank you note. Leaders use this to figure out where to invest their resources to get the biggest bang for their buck. So, we've listened, and we've prioritized. Now for the most important part, turning all those insights into actual action. A really powerful tool for this is the SIPOC diagram. I know, it sounds technical, but it's really just a simple map that forces you to see your business from the outside in. It visualizes the entire flow of work, from your suppliers, through your internal processes, all the way to the customer. Building one is actually a pretty cool exercise in working backwards. You don't start with your own process. No, you start with the customer and the outputs they receive. From there, you map the process that creates those outputs. And then, finally, you list the inputs and suppliers needed. This simple shift forces the whole team to see the system through the customer's eyes. But there's still one more crucial step. Customer feedback is often vague, right? It's emotional. Your service is too slow. Your website is confusing. To actually act on that, a leader has to translate that qualitative feeling into a quantitative metric.
And this is where the concept of critical to quality, or CTQs, comes in. A CTQ is basically the bridge that connects a vague customer comment to a specific, measurable target for the business. It's what turns an opinion into a goal.
And this is really where the magic happens. Your delivery is too slow gets translated into a clear target. Product delivered within 3 hours of order. Your support staff was helpful, becomes a real metric. 95% of questions answered correctly on first contact. Your billing is confusing transforms into a goal. Billing accuracy of 99.8% or higher. Suddenly, vague feelings become concrete targets you can actually measure, manage, and improve. So we've gone through all these practical tools. Let's connect it all back to our central theme. What does this really mean for a leader? So here's the biggest takeaway. These tools, they aren't just for analysts in a back office. They are the core instruments of modern leadership. A great leader's job is to build a culture that that obsesses over the voice of the customer. They implement systems like CIPIC and CTQs to turn listening into an everyday process. They empower their teams to act on what they hear, and they treat customer data not like a boring report, but like a strategic guide for change.
And this is the ultimate point. True leadership in today's world isn't about having all the answers. It's about building an organization that's hardwired to listen for the answers and to constantly adapt based on the one voice that will always determine your success.
So I'll leave you with a question to think about. In your organization, in your role, what is the voice of your customer saying right now? And more importantly, are you truly set up to hear it?